And so this week they wore T-shirts saying, you know, making a statement, you better pay us. But instead of just leaving it at that, Kelsey Plum for LA had to take a dig at Caitlin Clark. I don't have a problem with the WNBA players asking for a raise. The WNBA is on a hot streak. I don't care about the previous 24, 25 years. As an investment, it's starting to pay off.
T-shirt, just United front was determined this morning that we had a meeting for, and you know, not to tattletale, but 0 members of Team Clark were very present for that.
Colin Cowherd just called out the WNBA players, and he's not holding back. Why is he telling stars like Kelsey Plum to shut up after the Caitlin Clark controversy? There's a key moment everyone's talking about, and it might be the league's biggest PR disaster ever. Stick around to find out why Cowherd's massive shift toward the WNBA makes this even more shocking. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video.
They're going to get a raise, there's no question. And I don't really care that the previous 25 years they didn't make a lot of money or lost money. I don't care. They're in the middle of a negotiation, and they're on a heater. Oh, boy. Listen, NBA players make 50% of revenues. WNBA players make 9%. And now the merch sales are up 500%, and attendance is up, 40%. So it doesn't really matter. I've said this before. I made an investment for 5 years, and it lost money. And I got about 6 months left in the investment, and in the last 6 months, they started making cash. I'm not bailing on the investment.
What if the most famous name connected to the WNBA right now doesn't even play there yet? Caitlin Clark, the Iowa point guard everyone's calling the next Michael Jordan of women's basketball, has brought more attention to the sport than the league has seen in years. But instead of capitalizing on this momentum...
About 12 years ago, it's about current momentum. There are companies, I'll give you an example. When The Athletic, which is a subscription-based sports writing site, got purchased by the New York Times, I want to finally get my money back. So they're going to get a raise. They're finally turning a corner. But and negotiating in any business is all about current momentum. It's not. The Athletic was losing $45 million a year. They bought it for scale. They bought it because at the time Biden, not Trump, was president. They were losing clicks. They weren't doing as well digitally, and The Athletic answered that bell.
Some WNBA players are focusing on demanding more pay in ways that feel tone-deaf to their growing fan base. Colin Cowherd wasn't having it. Cowherd didn't shy away when addressing the Pay Us campaign, spearheaded by WNBA stars like Kelsey Plum. Once Caitlin Clark's surge in popularity started driving up ratings and sparking comparisons to basketball legends, you'd expect the league to focus on harnessing that energy, right? Instead, Cowherd called out what he saw as misplaced priorities. Taking aim at the campaign's timing and tone, he suggested that the players weren't seeing the bigger picture.
But the projection for the WNBA going forward and the current momentum are really, really good. So the T-shirts don't bother me. But why do you take a shot at the Golden Goose, Caitlin Clark? Athletic still doesn't make money. They bought it for scale. Not every company that wins in negotiations or is sold is wildly profitable. You guys were flying before she arrived on one of those airlines that made you pay for a cup of water. One of those airlines that the planes are the color of a highlighter.
To him, it felt like a missed opportunity for growth, especially when Caitlin Clark's name is suddenly drawing casual fans to the sport like never before. The Pay Us campaign itself has raised eyebrows, partially because of how players framed it. Kelsey Plum and others argued that the league revenue should give them bigger paychecks, but for Cowherd and many fans, it seemed like they undermined the buzz Clark has brought. Some took Plum's statements as a subtle dig at Clark's impact, turning what should have been a spotlight moment into an unnecessary debate. Imagine, Clark hasn't stepped on a league court yet, but she's already shifting ticket sales and breaking streaming numbers across college games. Take this summer. WNBA viewership jumped nearly 20% compared to last year. Everyone's talking about matchups that Clark could one day dominate. Compare that to the league's struggles in past years when filling stadium seats or securing major sponsorships felt almost impossible. This surge in attention makes Cowherd's take land even harder. As the host of one of the biggest sports radio platforms in the country, his criticism echoes what frustrated fans are saying. Why risk loosening your grip on this newfound buzz? It's all the more puzzling when you look back at how bad things were before Caitlin Clark became the name everyone couldn't ignore. Imagine this. Not too long ago, the WNBA wasn't just struggling to fill arenas. It was struggling to stay on anyone's radar. TV ratings were in the basement, ticket sales barely moved the needle, and media coverage? Practically non-existent outside of niche outlets. For years, the league had a visibility problem they couldn't figure out. Even a strong, record-breaking finals in 2020 saw just 440,000 average viewers. Numbers almost flatlined compared to men's sports. It felt like no matter what was happening on the court, they couldn't connect with a wider audience. Fast forward to now, and Caitlin Clark has taken women's basketball by storm. She's not even in the WNBA yet, and she already feels like a game changer. Just look at the numbers. Clark's performances at Iowa consistently brought in over 1.5 million viewers in NCAA games this season, a staggering figure. Clark isn't just electrifying. She's making casual sports fans who never thought about the WNBA sit up and pay attention. And that's the exact shift a league like this needed. Even Colin Cowherd, who rarely discusses women's sports, is now spotlighting this attention wave. It's Clark's dynamic play and ability to connect with fans that's arguably the biggest narrative in women's basketball right now. And it's not just about TV ratings or Instagram followers. Take All-Star tickets, for example. A few years ago, tickets to the WNBA All-Star game could be grabbed for half the price of a regular season NBA seat. But after Clark's rise, people are already predicting her future debut will spike ticket demand in ways the league hasn't seen since its launch. Even her injury this year shifted resale markets, underscoring just how much people were invested in seeing her play. But here's the thing. This momentum could evaporate just as fast as it was built. If current players continue alienating Clark's fan base or fail to embrace her impact, the league risks undoing all the progress gained. Clark is being compared to Michael Jordan for a reason, and it isn't just her moves on the court. It's the way she can transform the game if she's given the chance. And that raises a crucial question. Can the WNBA afford to fumble this rare opportunity for growth? The WNBA stands at a turning point, and it's clear Caitlin Clark could define its future. Her talent isn't just about points or assists. She's a magnet for fans, media, and money. It's an opportunity leagues dream of, but it's fragile. If WNBA players and officials can't find common ground to maximize this momentum, they risk alienating the audiences Clark brings into focus. Viewers like you can push for change, support smarter strategies, and demand accountability from league leaders. Clark's rise feels like a revolution, but will it elevate the WNBA or end up as another wasted chance? Time will tell.